Chapter 6. When Maya awoke, she was lying on a stack of blankets of fur and knit in a large circular room of rock. Adam lay sleeping a few feet away on a similar pile of blankets. There was daylight coming in through a broad entrance into the room down a shallow incline. In the back, there was a less broad opening exiting the room. Maya sat up and looked around the room with careful attention. There was one small brown leather bag and one larger. There was a long stick leaning up against the wall. There was a box with light tan clothes and what looked like a warmer coat with fur. Next to the box sat a pair of boots like moccasins. On the other side of the room, there were 4 of the boards leaning up against the wall of similar but various shapes and sizes. Until she saw the boards, she was still open to the possibility that the recent events had been some kind of dream or sleep-deprived, food-deprived hallucination. She told herself she didn't talk to a coyote or ride a flying board, not because it wasn't cool, but because it had shaken up her entire existence. But there was no going back now. The boards were real. It was only a matter of time before she was talking to a coyote again. "Are we dead?" Adam said, sitting up under his thick knit blanket. "I don't think so," Maya answered, "but somehow I think we're more lost than we were before." Maya got up and looked around. She poked her head, still cautiously, into the hall at the back of the room. It seemed to be nothing but a short decline into a small room with baskets full of berries and nuts and a few clay jugs. "Did we talk to a coyote yesterday?" Adam said, staring at the ground. "There's only one way to find out," Maya said, as she approached the daylight opening at the front of the cave room. Maya came out of the cave room, followed by Adam. They passed through another room of about the same size. This one had a bed made with a crude wood frame and what still looked like a pile of blankets within the frame. There was a rectangular table with thinner logs than the bed frame, and the slab of the table itself was a natural slice of wood. On the end there were stacked a couple of big wooden bowls and a few small bowls, a couple knives and a few utensils. In the middle of the room, by the bed, there was a circle of stones with ashes in the middle from recent fires. This room led directly outside. Zetafungo was on the cliff outside the cave, holding the lid above a steaming pot that rested on a bed of hot embers. It was late afternoon, and the late afternoon sun was past its peak. Big clouds billowed slowly through the sky. Crows squawked, and the wind blew through the pine trees below. "Maya, Adam, how is your sleep?" asked Zetafungo cheerfully. "Great timing. I'm making late breakfast, early dinner. It's fish. I eat a lot of fish." "I would eat anything right now," Adam said. "Don't say that, Adam. I can find some weird stuff to eat," retorted Zetafungo, smiling. "Where are we?" Maya asked. West. Relatively west." "My home," Zetafungo answered. "Here, have some fish, some blackberries and blueberries on the side." They sat and ate on a big log, held in place with 3 wedge-shaped rocks. Adam ate the fish immediately and went back for seconds. "Are you going to explain anything to us?" Maya asked. There's nothing to explain, really, Zedafungo replied. It seems like there is a lot to explain, said Maya. No. Well, it will come. I know nothing but what the Great Spirit says to me, Zedafungo said, eyes slightly rising to the clouds. And right now, it is telling me nothing but the wind between the pine boughs, shushing. Maya was bothered by this uncertainty, but she was overwhelmed and at the mercy of Zedafungo for the moment. She was poised. She remained calm and ate her fish. Adam was just along for the ride and seemed to be enjoying every minute of it. We will be training here. I do know that, Zedafungo said. You will need adequate skills for what lies ahead. What lies ahead? Maya interrupted. I don't know, but you're going to need skills for it, he replied. You're ridiculous, Maya said, folding her arms, glancing away. I agree. I have learned to live with it, Zedafungo said, tossing a berry at his mouth, missing. We're not going to be home for a while, are we? Maya asked. No, said Zedafungo. How is our dad going to be fine? He's probably already calling the police. Are we in some kind of time dimension magic? Maya prodded. No, I sent 2 ferrets to your dad's house wearing your clothes, Zedafungo answered casually. Did you say spirits or ferrets? Adam asked. They are spirit ferrets. Ferrets, Zedafungo responded. He's going to know they're not us. Are you crazy? Maya butted in. Just because they're wearing our clothes? Our dad is not stupid or blind, Maya protested. No. Clothes for a spirit is your body. They look exactly like you, down to the last eyelash. They talk like you and act like you, sort of. The acting is not something they can slip on. You can copy a body, but you can't copy a soul, not at its deepest levels, Zedafungo concluded. Great, Maya nodded, pursing her lips. Yeah, said Zedafungo, looking pleased. Now, let's see if you guys can still ride these boards. They followed him back into the cave room, through the first large room, down the corridor, into the next they woke up in, the room with the boards. Zedafungo picked one up and handed it to Adam. Next, he picked one up and handed it to Maya. These are my old boards, Zedafungo said. They're yours now. Maya and Adam looked at each other, then looked at the boards. Zedafungo laid his board down in the air with a toss and stepped on to the floating vessel, slightly glowing from beneath. He kick-flipped, bounced from side to side, several feet, and spun off axis. He sent the board sliding out several feet, forcing it away with his back foot, allowing it to shoot across the room and yank back like he had it on a string. He hopped off and grabbed his board, putting it under his arm. Okay, your turn, he said. Adam hopped on and shot his board out from under him, sending himself head over heels and the board bouncing around the room. Zedafungo looked in that direction for a moment, then turned towards Maya. Maya laid the board down and stepped on it. Her torso stayed still, but from the hips down, the board started swaying back and forth, slightly like a pendulum. She tried what she could to slow the motion, but it backfired. The pendulum intensified until it flipped her legs in a full circle through the air. She remained on the board, however, arms out, balanced now. A fierce smile grew on her face. At this point, Zedafungo's mouth hung open. Cool, he said, matter of fact. Zetafungo continued training them in the basics of board riding late into the evening. By the end of the session, they were both getting the hang of it. They were able to bounce back and forth in the air, demonstrating the ability to carve through the forces of the air. Now night had fallen, and the three of them sat around a campfire on the high cliff. It was a clear night. The moon and stars shone bright. The fire crackled and threw their shadows on the rock behind them. Adam's shadow was practicing kick-flipping in place. Owls hooted here and there, and coyotes yipped in the distance. Zetafungo let off a few yips of his own in their direction. I told them their petty squabbles are getting old, Zetafungo said to Adam and Maya in English. The coyotes yipped again. They said, "Come down here and say that to my face," said Zetafungo. The fire flickered. "I'm fine with this," Maya said, staring into the flame, then looking out over the emerald pine trees in the moonlight. "It feels good out here in the wild." She smiled warmly at Zetafungo. "How long have you lived out here?" Maya asked. "Me? I have lived out here," he paused. "Time," he squinted. "I have lived here a long time." He looked out at the trees. "It is good," he agreed. He got up and put another 2 logs on the fire. "Let me get us some hot tea," Zetafungo said. He went into the cave. Adam took a seat on the log next to Maya. Zetafungo came out and prepared the tea by boiling a pot of water on the fire and pouring it over 3 cups. "Pine needle, wildflower, and wild honey," he said as he poured. He took his cup. He held it up for a toast. "Tomorrow," he started, "the real training begins."